Did you really think that we were gonna stop? Did you really think that we were gonna quit? Did you really think that we were gonna forget the sounds of the chains and the cracks of the whip? Did you really?
Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Breaking Down the Divide. And this podcast is presented by Divine Royalty Entertainment, where wisdom is wealth and wealth is wisdom. And it also brought to you by and sponsored by the Divided Nation Unity Campaign, where we focus on unity, ownership, and global identity. That's right. And we are here in a magnificent, powerful Dream Launch studio where the great producer, Patrick O'Neill, is doing his thing on the highest level. We're also here with my co-host, Tracey Knox, and we are ready to just dive into this particular podcast because we're finding ourselves running out of time. The conversation is getting in depth, and we are really getting into the meat and the potato of this particular book. By the way, we want to talk about purchasing your book so we can be on the same page. Right. So where are they supposed to go to?
They can go to Divine Royalty Entertainment
.com
or Amazon to purchase the ebook.
Absolutely. And so once again, I'm not really focused on book sales more than I'm focusing on us being on the same page. And even if you're not ready to read the book, dissect the book, would you get the book to say that you was part of this revolution, part of this preparation for elevation? As we mentioned, something powerful is about to happen in the African-American community. You see the signs and symbols that is happening around us. So Let's not wait. Let's not wait to the last moment to get ready. Let's get ready now. And so hopefully and prayerfully, Divided Nation is going to help you get ready. And so this is what this podcast is about. We're going to break down the divide. And we're going to break down this book and get to the root of the situation. So you ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to set up the scene?
Okay, so tell us what picture we're looking at.
We're at picture 6.
Picture 6.
Never good enough.
Never good enough. Now, if you remember in our last podcast, we talked about Raymond was given an offer by his godfather to leave the presidency alone and don't focus going on to the White House because something big and better is for him. But he have to give that up before he could know exactly what the godfather was offering him. And so this is where we pick up here, where Raymond clearly, precisely say no, he's not going to do it.
Correct.
He leaves the suite, the presidential suite, and storm out of the room. His father is right behind him, and this is how this chapter opens. And so we actually have a conversation, if not an argument, a disagreement between him and his father. And so that's how we set it up. That's how we set the whole entire situation up. So what exactly stood out to you when you read this particular picture?
Okay. So one thing that stood out to me about was their relationship, the son and the father relationship.
Right.
Something that just actually came to my mind was in the beginning when they were actually in a restaurant, how he dropped everything to go and, meet his father. But their whole relationship kind of turned in a sense when it came to this next picture
Right.
with the conversation between him and his father.
Right.
Raymond was a little bit more direct,
Mm-hmm.
rude, I must say. But that's
You
not
said it was rude.
well, he was straightforward,
Right. Right.
like his feelings was really
Right.
more forward.
Absolutely. I wouldn't say
Rude?
rude. Only reason why, because we have to stop being so sensitive. Because when you talk about a revolution and you talk about going to another level and you're talking about preparation for another level, you're talking about sacrifice, right? This is hand-to-hand combat stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm afraid that everything that the African American community been through, I don't know how, but somehow we became so sensitive that people can't disagree with us.
Right.
That people can't, say, no, you're not getting the job. Oh, it's because I'm black. Maybe it's not. Maybe because you don't have the experience. You're not qualified.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So go back to school and get qualified. My point is, let us not be so sensitive every time somebody disagree with us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I understand your point in that this is the first time we see Raymond disagreeing with his father. Up until this time, yes, sir,
Right.
let's do it A, B, C, and D.
Correct.
But watch this. I think the lesson here, or the point here is, in the process of going to another level, in the process of preparing for elevation, there's going to be some disagreements.
Yeah, definitely. So when you say sacrifice, who's sacrificing this situation? Raymond's sacrificing, right?
Raymond's sacrificing, definitely.
Right. But I feel like his dad also sacrificed.
Okay, I'm listening. You got my attention. I'm listening.
Right.
Expound on what you're saying. How is that?
Because, look how he planned his whole life out. He made sure he went to the best schools.
Mm-hmm.
He made sure. Mm-hmm. I'm quite sure his dad sacrificed something to make this happen for his son.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So I think it goes both ways.
I see that.
Right.
I can go with that.
Right.
So sacrifice on both parts
Correct.
is here, and I guess that's why people so headstrong.
Right.
Because one is saying I'm sacrificing this, and the other saying, well, I sacrificed that, and people are headstrong where they don't want to compromise A, B, C, and D. So that's a good point. So the point that we're going to pivot off of is this disagreement is because Raymond is saying, hey, I'm not good enough for you. I did everything you wanted me to do.
Right.
I listened to you. You told me when you want me to go to this school. I went there. You married this person. I married this person. Do it here, do it. Right. And now he is telling him, hey, man, give up the race. He's like, yo, what's going on here? Right. So this is why the chapter is called Never Good Enough. Right. So I want to point out the fact that the teacher and the student relationship is several relationships here. And the first is the teacher and the student relationship. And the teacher is saying to the student, I know you think that I don't celebrate what you achieve and what you accomplish, but we are still in the process of me getting you to your destiny. Okay. So you may say, hey, I'm never good enough for you. Never, whatever I do is not good enough. And the teacher's saying, you are, but it's not time to celebrate that. Because why? I'm pushing you to what? The next level. Now, let's be honest. The student is not thinking that. The student is thinking, man, I'm never going to live up to this guy's expectation.
Right, correct.
You see? And so, when the student appreciate the teacher in his perspective or her perspective, graduation.
Yeah, that's what jumped in my mind.
Graduation.
Right.
Once they graduate, now the students say, I'm glad you pushed me. I'm glad you didn't allow me to be satisfied or be too comfortable. I'm glad I did not think that I was good enough.
Right.
Because if I thought I was good enough in the process, maybe I would have got stuck in the process.
Right. But I'm kind of hearing something else. Can we shift for a second? So I'm kind of hearing that Raymond, did he have some, the word is not insecurities, but did he not think
Mm-hmm.
he was good enough?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For
Mm-hmm.
him to actually shift to
Mm-hmm.
that conversation. Was there some things that was in him
Mm-hmm.
that he didn't feel he was at a place? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Right.
And that's a good observation. Because you guys say, because what?
Because he went to that conversation.
What? What? I think that's a good place.
And I'm thinking some of us have that. A lot of us have that issue
that we're not good enough.
As much as I have achieved,
Mm-hmm.
it's still not
good enough.
Good enough.
Wow. And you know what? Definitely the African American community probably have this syndrome or have this phobia that we're not good enough for the mainstream, or we're not good enough for the position A, B, C, and D. So maybe, you're right, maybe he was saying this to his father, but all the time thinking this within himself. Right. And that's a great point to make, that before someone else can think you good enough, you have to know you good enough. Right. That's a good point. Okay. You took it. I'm impressed.
Wow.
I know you can handle it. But we also see the father and son relationship in here, with the father saying, you are good enough, but I also know your potential. Right. So I'm going to pour your potential out of you, because you are mini me. Right. You are mini me. And so the father relationship is a little greater than the teacher, because the father is saying, if I had it all to do again and I was your age, I would do it like this. And so a lot of times fathers are living their
dreams
through their sons. And I really don't want to say dreams more than I want to say their second chance or another chance through their sons. Right. Or through their daughters as well. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so, which is good, once again, but the child is going to think, I'm not good enough. And that's not the case. Right. I'm trying to push you to another level, and as far as you can go, based off of the potential that I know you have, and also based on what I supposed to have done when I was your age. Right. And didn't have the opportunity, the energy, the idea, the concept. Right.
I'm also thinking that it's necessary to have someone to see that in you. Right. You know, and to speak those things and to push you. Right. I think we all need that, because sometimes we will get complacent, but when somebody sees, like, wow, I see greatness in this person. Right. Yeah, I think I have that. I see greatness in this person, and, you know, actually going to them and encouraging them and speaking that into their lives. Right. So that's something that I feel in the African American community we don't do enough.
We don't do enough of that. I can see that.
Yeah, especially I hate to go to the church, but in the church, a lot of times we don't do that.
We don't do that. And so the father, now, in father and son relationship also suggests that what you just mentioned, we don't do it enough, and maybe because the fathers are not in place. We have a lot of absentee fathers, and the fathers are not living their best life through their children and giving their children an opportunity to do things that they haven't done. Once again, and I don't apologize for this idea, this concept, we have to 1,010% designate a father for the African American community, a grandfather for the African American community. I wrote this book called, this is actually my last book I wrote. We're getting it edited now, Getting It From the Root. And it was inspired by the 2020 protests. And so that's one of the points that I make, that we need a father in order to get the father's blessing, in order for the African American community to get the father's blessing. And so, and it doesn't mean that we're always going to agree with the father. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that we're going to be saying yes, sir, to everything. Correct. But we do need a head, and we do need someone who's going to point us in a direction and give us a vision, because that's what Raymond Father is doing.
Correct.
Raymond Father, along with the Godfather, had orchestrated this in his entire life and focused on the vision for him to go to the next level. As you're going to see, it's going to impact the entire African American community. And so we need that. We need a visionary, right? When talking about American history, right? You learned this in school. Let me see. Well, your teacher gonna get you. Yeah, let me see.
No.
Hold on.
No.
Hold
You're
on.
about to cut.
No,
Pat.
don't cut.
Don't do no history questions.
I'm just gonna put it out there. We're gonna answer together. I'm gonna hold your hand and we're gonna jump off the cliff. So hold on. Check this out. When we're talking about the history of Americans, right? George Washington, Ben Franklin, John Hancock, right? These men are considered what? Go ahead, say it.
Presidents.
They consider presidents, but they also got another name. Our forefathers.
Right.
You see, the fathers that gave us the foundation. How is it that this country know that they needed fathers? This is one of the reasons why they grew so fast. I mean, they only 240. The America's only 240 some years old. I mean, compared to ancient countries like Egypt, China, and Russia.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's a little bit of time. But they knew certain things. And one of the things that they knew they had to put in place was fathers.
Okay.
So I just impressed you. Just a little bit. Golly. The truth of the matter is, once again, we're talking about building something powerful, building a system. We have to designate our fathers, our forefathers, to do that. Okay, so we have the father and son relationship, and that's a powerful relationship. So the father is not saying, you're not good enough, but I'm going to push you because I know your potential. Why? Because I know me, and I know my opportunities that I missed, and I don't want you to miss those opportunities. We need that, 1,010%. But also, we see that Raymond is saying, hey, I need you to tell me that I was good enough.
Wow.
If you're going to tell me I'm not good enough, can you tell me I'm good enough? And I know that sounds like a contradiction, but let me see, can I set it up like this? What you have accomplished is good enough. What you have achieved is good enough, but not good enough for you to stop achieving or stop accomplishing. The quality of what you have is good. Right? But you can't stop here. You can't get comfortable. You see, there's something more.
Right.
And you're going to see Raymond really was focusing on being comfortable in a job that he knew that he was overqualified for. And he could be comfortable. He don't have to do. He's supposed to be actually running for president. They chose him to be the vice president.
Right.
I'm going to say this and may get in trouble, but I've been here before. I got a T-shirt. I can prove it. Technically, Harris supposed to be president. If you look at the history in the process, if Clinton would have became president and chose a woman, and maybe Harris, to be her vice president and not this guy, which kind of messed everything up because it was the women time back then too when Clinton was running for president. And she chose a guy. It supposed to be two women, particularly an African American woman. She would have slaughtered what's his name? He just left.
Trump.
She would have slaughtered Trump.
What's his name?
He just left. I forgot him already. Look at it. Terrible. She would have slaughtered Trump if she would have picked an African American vice president back then. Got 8 years idealistically, and guess what? It'd been time for the vice president, like they normally do, to run for president. Now, Harris would have been president now. Come on, man. She would have been president now. So to to pacify me and say we want an African American female to be president, okay, we'll take it. But technically, she's supposed to be the president right now. I ain't gonna mess with you. That went over your head.
Yeah.
So Raymond, they choosing Raymond to be the vice president in this book, but all the time, he have what it takes to be the president, and so he's chilling now. He said, "Man, I don't want that. I know that I'm overqualified for this position, so I'm comfortable. I'm playing around."
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking so many of us, we do that.
That's right.
You know we should be in certain positions.
That's right.
But we are comfortable.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Because most of the times it's in those positions where we're being stretched or we're uncomfortable.
That's right.
Really where we're supposed to be.
And so we're not saying you're not good enough.
Correct.
We're saying don't be so satisfied with yourself that you don't stretch yourself.
Right.
And that you don't push yourself.
Right.
Because a lot of people, and this is going to be heard throughout the nation, and a lot of people are going to feel this. A lot of people are working when they're supposed to be owning their own company.
Definitely.
Because they're comfortable and they feel secure. And they've been got that call to open up their own company. Yeah.
Right.
And
Definitely.
and the sad commentary is they probably could be millionaires by now. And they worrying about job security or, paid vacation or whatever. Yeah.
401k.
Right. Okay. So good enough, but not good enough to settle. You good and what you have produced, but please don't settle. And that's what his father was telling him. And let me say this: a lot of people don't think that Obama was a good president in the African American community. You do know that. You ever heard that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yes. The guy that was on the Breakfast Club, he basically.
What did he say? Who?
Dr. Anderson.
Oh yeah.
He basically said Obama did nothing for the
African American
community.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, what was his?
Bold, like.
What was his reason for saying that? He just said it. Did he give any?
He said it's evidence. He didn't see anything that he did for the African American community.
Okay. Now, I'm a critic. I'm an analyze. I'm a dissect. I'm going to say this. Obama did what he's supposed to have done. I wish he would have done more, right? And I had this conversation with many people, a lot of people, and they said the same thing.
Right.
And I defend him by saying this here. What he did was good enough. This is why. He was the first African American male to get in that position. Right?
Right.
Talking about glass ceilings. He had to crush this demonstration.
Right.
And if he did nothing else, he broke a barrier, right, that was for white men only. White men only. Yeah. And he went up and he did the demonstration. Now, once again, we were just trying to get him in office. We didn't care who he was. You look like us, get in office. Right. And like I said, good thing he was smart. Good thing this guy was intelligent. This guy's very sharp. Oh, yeah. And his wife is sharp too. Yeah. And so good thing, it was a shot in the dark. No pun intended. And we made a good choice. And so as far as I'm concerned, Obama did what he's supposed to have done, which was to destroy that glass ceiling. Be the first one. Okay, my producers are saying we got 5 minutes. Be the first one to get in that office that looked like us. Now,
there's so much
one person can't do everything.
Right. That's it. That's my thing.
Why are we expecting one person to do everything?
Correct.
That's why the Divided Nation had the three main characters, the Godfather Raymond and Bishop Jackson.
Correct.
To say everybody got to do their part.
Right. Correct.
Go ahead. You gonna say something?
Right. That's my whole thing with when we put people in office, we expect them to do all the work.
Right.
we don't expect, oh, we vote for him and then that's it. We stop right there.
Right.
We don't do anything in our community. We don't try to set up anything. It's like Obama, get it done.
Right.
And then we think it's supposed to stop right there. And I'm talking about from the president on down to everyone that we put in office.
Right.
We're supposed to hold them accountable.
Right.
But we don't.
We don't.
We don't.
And I believe
Not to the scale that we're supposed to. As all the people that voted for Obama or voted for whoever you voted for, it takes more than just you doing that vote at that election day.
Right.
Like we stop after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we want this we want him to, to be like this magic wand and do the Superman, this magic thing.
Correct.
And the truth of the matter is, they already got a system in place
Definitely.
that the country really can run itself.
Definitely.
You do know that, right?
Definitely.
That corporations, this country is a corporation.
Right.
This is not a monarchy. This is not a dynasty. This is a democracy, and it is a corporation, right? And normally corporations are programmed to run itself. Do you know what the president for most corporations are? High-paid troubleshooters. That something goes wrong in the company, they gotta hurry up and fix it so the machine can do its thing, continue to make that money.
Right.
And matter of fact, based on how quick they get that trouble out of the machine, will determine whether they get fired or whether they get a promotion. Yeah. Because the CEO or the founder is going to say, hey, you had a problem? Yeah. How long did it take you to fix it? Well, it had to take us a couple of days. Okay, you can look for another job.
Because he's losing money.
We losing money. We get millions by the minute. Right. You can look for another job. But if he say, no, sir, we fixed it in 5 minutes. We fixed it within 30 minutes. You can look for a promotion because you saved us some money. Okay. So when Obama comes on the scene as the president of this corporation called America, the president, not a king, he got things already in place. Now the king is something else. Got to go. The king is something else. The king, he runs this whole demonstration. This is his daddy stuff, and his great grand. But the president, this belongs to somebody else. And he just keeping the machine running. Right. So a lot of stuff he couldn't do. He couldn't do it. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna leave you. He probably got a better chance of doing stuff now.
Oh my goodness.
That he's not in office.
I was gonna say that.
Probably more for us now.
Correct.
With his man, with his vice president, talking about president, vice president, with his vice president in office than he had when he was in office.
Right. I was going to say that. And with Michelle on his side.
Absolutely. You see how she slid that in there? Yeah, absolutely, for sure, 1,000%. And we're gonna see, and we're gonna see how they can actually help us to prepare for this great and powerful move. We have to go. It's been a pleasure, once again, breaking down the divide. I hope you enjoy our conversation, and I hope you enjoy this dialogue. So, man, we are in the 3rd week of May, and time is flying. So continue to tune in. You know you can go to Facebook and get this podcast. You can go to YouTube and Instagram. And we're going to really get you, keep you posted, because we want you to be part of this conversation, and we want for you to be ready for the elevation for this demonstration. For the next level, the highest level, right? Hey, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you once again next time on the highest level.